can see your screen share. At least I can.
Okay. So Magpie Sprint 3, we're starting that. It's today through November 10th, 3 weeks. So keep in mind this is the feature freeze. So by the end of the sprint, we expect everything to be reviewed and merged. I think what we said in the review, though, is that for things that we don't think will be complete by the review for the sprint, please come with that list. So Ray, similar to what you did last time where there were some pending stuff, let's make sure we have that in place by the review. Then we'll review that also as part of the review and see what the exceptions are. The preference is, of course, we don't have to make exceptions, but I'd rather make sure that we consciously make the exceptions rather than not.
Yeah, Thomas and I are taking a run at putting together a similar spreadsheet to what we did for Loon, which has all the outstanding check-ins, and start from there. And then things will dribble in as we go, and we'll have to add them, but that's fine.
Okay. And then I assume we'll also do what we normally do, which is we'll have a bug scrub towards the end of the sprint. This way it gets us ready for the following sprint. Okay, let's take a look at Jira. We'll start with platform. So, Jordan?
Yes, so just a couple major stories here. So we're doing some cleanup of the ONOS data directory so we can implement sort of a temporary offline version of ISSU. And then still working on an Atomics upgrade. We're doing a lot more testing and making sure that's working well, because the last release, we had some issues with Atomics. So I'm gonna make sure it's good to go before it's upgraded in ONOS. And then the rest of the stuff, there are just a few bug fixes for netconf related things. And then still, John has the task assigned for restoring the distributed flow rule store for testing. And that's about it.
Okay, Andrea?
Yeah, the last two I put in for a bug reported for the netconf change port state, for which a patch is already in flight. And one that was reported for the alarms not being removed when the device is disconnected and from ONOS. So if the device goes away, the alarms are not removed from the store. So that's a quick and easy fix that I will do. And it was reported from a guy that on the mailing list. So put him in.
One more, Andrea.
Yeah, other bug fix for netconf. That's basically what happens is same when a device gets removed from the core. Apparently there's some stale state which I have to investigate in probably the netconf controller, and I believe it to be an easy fix if the problem is what I think, and that should be just a matter of removing and entering a map, and then the process will restart completely, and the device description discovery will get queried correctly instead of incorrectly as it is now. For anybody interested, that there is a log in the Jira story that shows the difference.
Okay, thanks, Andrea. Let's move on to GUI. Is Steve on? Stephen?
No, I don't see him online. This is Simon. I spoke to him last week, but I haven't spoken to him today. Basically, a couple of these are rollover from last sprint, plus we've also added implementing the multi-homed hosts on the Topo 2. I think probably we're going to focus on the code coverage of client-side code and stay away a little bit from specific features. Yeah, so there you go. That's what we've got for today.
Okay.
If you could refresh, because I did actually just drag something into the Lion sprint, which is really just the placeholder for Elisa kind of guiding the translators to add bundles. I think we'd like to get the bundles for the 2 new languages. It was Greek and something on par with the others in this sprint. So we'll see how that goes.
Okay, and then packet optical. Mark?
I think Mark is not available today. I don't really know what this is, but well, generally the idea is open roadmap applications. I think that they got some feedback and they want to test some stuff. That's all I can say.
Yeah, these are essentially moved over from the last sprint, so he consciously did not move them over. Yeah.
Because the problem is that Mark is we are a lot overwhelmed with eCord on the cord side since China Mobile, so some of the things in ONOS might slip.
Okay, so maybe we'll need to chat with him and see if he actually wants these in this sprint.
I'll make sure to ping him. Thanks, Ken.
Okay, thanks, Andrea. Dynamic config. Utah.
Actually, Utah's not in the room. So,
And then everything else looks like they're Henry. And Sonu.
I mean, I don't know the specifics of these stories myself, so I really can't comment on it.
Okay. Oh, move on though. I think, Thomas, if you're attending the weekly meeting, just reiterate to the team that it is feature freeze.
Yes,
So,
I'm going to be, yeah.
Okay. We need them to just wrap up any functionality they need in this release.
Yep.
Okay, thank you. gRPC. No, Jan? So there were a bunch of things under review that they're trying to get done, and the plan was to try to actually work on the OnePing app, which I don't see in this list for some reason. The goal was to try to get the OnePing application done and implemented. So let me ping Jen and make sure that gets in. And then P4.
Yes, I'm here. Carmelo here. So first thing, we created a few new epics to better organize the work. So we now have epics for P4 control via P4 runtime, and also epics to do the work about configuration with GNMI and for the use cases. So fabric.P4, DNF uploading, and band network telemetry. So in terms of stories, it's a lot of work. We have planned some exploratory work for the use cases, so INT, DNF uploading, and fabric.P4. The idea here is to understand what the requirements are and kind of do some scoping and planning for the next sprint. Then we have some work about some refactoring. This is a rollover from the previous sprint, so some refactoring of the pipeline model abstractions to use to go from a BMV2 based model to a P4 info based one. Then we have some work planned for GNMI, in this case implementing the basic infrastructure, so having the back build for the GNMI.proto stub, so the generation of the gRPC stubs, and implementation of the skeleton for the client, the controller. And I'm gonna do this. And for P4 runtime, we're planning to do some enablement of the driver implementation. In this case, replace the local store that we currently use in the behaviors with a distributed one. And then working on supporting mastership arbitration. And then maybe Andrea, you want to comment on your stories, or I can do that?
Sure, I can do that. I placed in some stories. Want to finish and wrap up the P4 runtime video for the demo at NFV, SDN NFV layer 1 to 3. That I got some feedback from the P4 team, and I will be share broadly probably in a couple of days. Then I have to implement the mastership handling general device provider to go with mastership arbitration update 7143. Then to support Frank's Wang work from the P4 Brigade, I've already created, and it's up for review, the meter programmable and meter driver provider. It is pending the update of the meters and probably the moving of the meters to the core from the incubator to remove some dependencies problems that were seen, and that's why Jenkins is failing. Then on the theme of distribution that we were having in Sprint, state distribution in PubCom service, and that's about it. Camilo, you want to go with the last story?
The last story is from the previous sprint. We're adding support for P4 runtime meters. This work has been carried out by a community member, Frank. It involves a lot of tests. There is already a patch in Gerrit, but there's a lot of testing to do, refactoring, so it's going to probably take the whole sprint. That's why that's 8 points.
Okay, thanks, Camilo. There was one more thing, the developer day. Are we missing some stories around prep for that?
Yeah, I will do some work for the P4 developer day. We're having a session. Me and Brian are going to give a session about P4 runtime. We're preparing a very small exercise based on Python and a presentation about P4 runtime and ONOS. Should I add a story about that?
Yeah, let's go ahead. Okay, ISSU.
All right, so this sprint is basically just focused on sort of cleaning up a lot of the ISSU work that we've been doing for this release. So the first issue is we're beginning to improve upon the protocol to support upgrading individual applications. And then 7081, we're still working on some of the isolation of state during upgrades. So this is a patch that's actually in review, but we still have a lot of work to do on it for isolating the state of eventually consistent map. And then the next 4 issues are all focused, they're all just improving how state is moved around the cluster during upgrades. And they're all actually in review and going through the QA process. So, and probably will be for like the next week. And then we're adding just cleaning up around the edges. So adding ISSU permissions, adding new commands for some of the new ISSU services. And then the last one is just some improvements to the ISSU service to improve usability, lists, the upgrades that have happened in the past and things like that. That's it.
Okay, thanks, Jordan. QA?
Yeah. There's another story that was backed up and talk about restoring the old floral store. That's so we can have comparable numbers in our performance tests. So the story at the top of this one is restore our tests to be testing on that instead of the consistent floral store. Then the next one is continuation from last sprint, improving our Docker test to do more than just start up the cluster. The next one is fixing some style issues in some of the files. And then the other 2 are kind of just cleaning up and adding some functionality to our performance stuff. There's probably one more story that will get added. We found a bug with the null providers where in the new flow store, the intent or the flow state gets stuck with pending, it doesn't change. It looks like it's only in the null providers, but that'll probably get added as well. That's it.
Okay, thanks, John. Virtualization. Claudine? Nala? Okay, looks like
Claudine is gone. Claudine is gone, right? I think she's gonna be gone till the end of the month. She just entered these stories here.
Okay.
I think we're just gonna let them manage this, and I think they're not under no particular stress to get this done.
Okay.
They're just basically moving on their own pace, kind of like a train.
Yeah. I think, right, there's still work going on the virtual gateway and the OF agent. Those are kind of what we had seen as kind of the ongoing work from that team.
Yep.
Okay, that's all I've got. Any other questions, comments?
Yeah, well, I have one quick question for John. When you mentioned restoring the flow restore, is that restoring it in its entirety, or providing restoring it so that there is an alternative to switch back and forth?
My idea was be able to switch back and forth. To be disabled by default.
Okay. All right. Cool. Thank you.
Okay, anything else?
Is it enough?
Okay. Well, thanks everyone. I'll start.
I'll write email to the dynamic config team about the code freeze.
Okay, thanks. Okay, bye everyone.
Bye. Thank you. Bye.